And welcome. If you're tuning in, this is the first Varsity Lightweight Women's 8 race on the Charles River Basin this morning. We'd like to start off to actually thank the city of Boston and all the first responders for this entire week. My name is Mariana. I am a Bostonian and former Radcliffe coxswain. And so I'm really grateful to be back out on my river, and wanted to just give a big thank you to everyone who helped out in the past week. It's great for all these crews to be back out here. We wanted to, thank Princeton and thank Stanford for coming into Boston and racing. And of course, we've got two Boston local crews, BU and Harvard racing, and looks like flag is up. Are sitting ready. And they're off. Clean start, all crews here. All four boats kind of all in a pack together here as we start this first Varsity Lightweight Women's race. All four crews tight pack. Hard to tell here as we are in about 250 meters into this race if we have an early leader. All four nice tight together. Looks like Radcliffe is starting to edge out just a little bit here. You can see their bows start to move past the other bows. Yep, as we come up here now, about 400 meters into the race, we've got Radcliffe as the early leader, followed by what looks like Stanford, then Princeton, then BU. It's going to be a good race out here on the Charles River this morning. All crews long. Got a lot of good length going on here as they come off this first 500. Definitely finding their rhythm from all crews. Looks like we've got Radcliffe coxswain coming up on bow ball to Stanford. And crossing the 500 meter mark, Radcliffe coming through first. Stanford and Princeton pretty close together, followed by BU. All crews now through the 500 meter mark as we dig into the middle of this race here. Still anyone's game. But Radcliffe, the early leader, looking nice and long. And they're got about 8 full seats on Stanford. And Stanford getting the lead on Princeton with just about 8 seats on Princeton. Open water back to BU. Oh, sorry. That's about 8 seats back to BU at this launch. It's hard to see. And as we come up here, starting to get into the middle 1,000, you can see Stanford making a move here. Still all four boats together. We're getting open water to BU now, so we've got Radcliffe, Stanford, and Princeton up ahead. And as we come into the 1,000 meter mark, Radcliffe still the leader. Stanford making moves to get back in there. Definitely still anyone's game. Radcliffe in the lead. 1,000 meter mark, traditionally where a lot of crews will take a move. You can see them start to pick up here. And Radcliffe actually looks like they're making their move here at the 1,000 meter mark. You can see that finish nice and strong. They're going for it here at the 1,000. Radcliffe making a move, looking to open up water on these other crews. As we cross the 1,000 meter mark for Radcliffe, then Stanford, Princeton, followed by BU. And as we come up, we can see the crews again. We've got Radcliffe in the lead, opening up water, followed by Stanford and Princeton. Radcliffe opening up that lead, continuing their move. You can see them nice and strong, moving through here. Radcliffe got open water. Stanford still staying in the game. Princeton in the game with Stanford. BU lagging behind here. Open water back to BU. And Radcliffe pushing through, coming to the last 750 meters here, ladies and gentlemen. Radcliffe has open water. With this wind picking up just a little bit as we go into the last bits of the race here, the athletes getting tired and having to deal with the wind. You can see them getting that swing back into it together, swinging into the wind as they come up into the last 500. Radcliffe open water on Stanford. Stanford has about a length on Princeton with about 6 seats of open to BU. And as we come up into the last 500 meters here, Radcliffe comfortably in the lead, long together. Radcliffe Coxon's probably confident right now. She's got the lead, she's ahead, but she's going to urge her crew to give her more. Got Stanford behind, looking to see if they can dig into Radcliffe's open water lead. Stanford now has open water on Princeton. Princeton has about a boat length of open back to BU. And coming into the last 300 for Radcliffe here, Radcliffe in the lead in the first Varsity 8, taking the lead over last year's national champions, the Cardinals from Stanford, with Princeton in third here and BU in fourth. And as we come into the last 250, you can see Radcliffe picking it up here in the last 250 meters of the race. They've got their opponents behind them. They know they're comfortable. They're going to pick it up and take it home here. Radcliffe with open water on Stanford. Stanford open water to Princeton. Princeton open water to BU. We started with a nice clustered race. They're all spread out now with Stanford lagging behind Radcliffe. You can see the Radcliffe Coxon turning around, making sure Princeton's still behind her, that she's got her lead. She feels comfortable. She's urging her crew on to that finish line. We've got Radcliffe open water to Stanford. Princeton trying to dig in here into Stanford now, but it looks like it's going to be Radcliffe taking it, followed by Stanford, Princeton, BU. And Radcliffe taking it home now. Last few strokes, Radcliffe is going to take this race here, picking it up. They're getting through the line. They know they've got this. And Stanford coming in behind them. We have Radcliffe crossing the line. Now coming up, Stanford crossing the line with Princeton through and BU coming in fourth. So this race is going to go to Radcliffe over Stanford, over Princeton, over BU. And that's, of course, unofficial, but looked like it was Radcliffe with open water to Stanford. And I want to thank you guys all for tuning in today and watching the races. That was Radcliffe taking the lead there. And we'll be back next week for more racing out on the Charles. Thanks, guys.